Narcissism is a term often used in popular culture to describe someone who is self centered, lacks empathy, and craves admiration. When dealing with someone you suspect to be narcissistic, the instinct might be to try to bring them with you to therapy or coaching in the hopes of improving your relationship or to help them change. However, this approach is fraught with challenges that can backfire spectacularly, causing even more harm than good. In this video, I'll explore why trying to get someone to go to therapy or coaching with you is often not advisable, the potential consequences of such a decision, and alternative approaches for dealing with narcissistic behaviour. I'm Jo Banks. I've been a professional executive business coach for 15 years, and I'm sharing what I know. Before delving into the reasons why therapy or coaching may not be effective for narcissists, let's look at some of the common traits of narcissists. Before we do that, I must stress that we aren't trying to diagnose anyone here. Only mental health professionals can do that, such as psychiatrists. Instead, we're going to look at some of the common traits we often see in narcissistic types of behaviour. Number one, a grandiose sense of self-importance. Narcissists often believe they are superior to others and expect special treatment. Number two, a need for excessive admiration. They crave constant validation and praise. Number three, lack of empathy. Narcissists struggle to recognize or care about the feelings and the needs of others. They can mimic it though if it's in their best interest, and I've got an entire video coming up on narcissism and empathy, so make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss when that comes out. Number four, entitlement. They expect to get what they want, often regardless of how it affects others. Number five, manipulative behaviour. Narcissists may use others to achieve their own ends, often without any kind of remorse. Number six, avoidance of responsibility. Narcissists will not take responsibility for their behaviours and frequently lie, manipulate, and gaslight to avoid being held accountable. Narcissistic people have fragile self-esteem, making them highly sensitive to criticism or perceived slights. While they might appear confident on the surface, their self-worth is often dependent on external validation. Why therapy may not work for narcissists. Therapy and counselling are typically grounded in the willingness of the client to engage in self-reflection, acknowledge their flaws, and work towards change. However, these are precisely the areas where narcissists struggle the most. Here's why therapy or coaching might not be effective or even advisable when dealing with someone with narcissistic traits. Number one, lack of insight and self-awareness. One of the hallmarks of narcissism is a lack of self-awareness. Narcissists often don't see anything wrong with their behaviour and are more likely to blame others for their problems. In therapy, this lack of insight can be a significant barrier to progress. Narcissists may refuse to acknowledge their role in conflicts or may dismiss the therapist's attempts to challenge their behaviour. Let's look at an example. A narcissist in couples therapy might refuse to accept any responsibility for the issues in the relationship, instead blaming their partner for everything. This refusal to engage in self-reflection can render therapy ineffective. Number two, manipulation of the therapeutic process. Narcissists are skilled manipulators, and this extends to therapy as well. They may try to manipulate the therapist to take their side, portraying themselves as the victim while vilifying others. This can create a toxic dynamic in therapy where the therapist becomes unwittingly complicit in reinforcing the narcissist's distorted views. An example of this: in family therapy, a narcissist might charm the therapist and convince them that they are the reasonable one while painting all other family members as irrational or overly emotional. This can further alienate and harm those who are already suffering from the narcissist behaviour. Unfortunately, I've worked with a number of clients who've experienced this, and it can be devastating, making recovery even more difficult. Number 3, reinforcement of narcissistic behaviours. Therapy involves a lot of attention and focus on the client's needs, feelings, and experiences, something that narcissists crave. This can inadvertently reinforce their narcissistic tendencies. The therapist's attention can become a form of narcissistic supply, where the narcissist enjoys being the center of focus without making any real effort to change. Let's look at an example of this one. A narcissist might enjoy the therapy sessions because it gives them an opportunity to talk about themselves, and they love nothing more than that, and feel validated by the therapist's attention rather than using the sessions to work on their issues. Number 4, potential for escalating abuse. If you're in a relationship with a narcissist, whether romantic, familial, or professional, suggesting therapy can be seen as a threat to their self-image. Narcissists may react to this perceived threat with increased manipulation, gaslighting, or even overt aggression. The suggestion that they need help can be met with intense defensiveness, denial, and a doubling down of abusive behaviours. Let's look at an example. After suggesting therapy, a narcissist might accuse you of being the one with the problem, becoming more controlling or emotionally abusive as a way to regain their sense of superiority. Number 5, the therapist's limitations. Not all therapists are equipped to handle complex dynamics of narcissism. Even experienced therapists can struggle to manage a narcissist in therapy. If the therapist fails to recognize the narcissist's manipulative tactics, they may inadvertently reinforce their behavior, leaving the non-narcissistic partner or family member feeling even more isolated and helpless. Let's take an example of this one. A therapist who is not well versed in narcissistic behaviors might sympathize with the narcissist's complaints and frustrations, overlooking the underlying manipulation, thereby validating the narcissist's harmful behavior. One other thing to note here as well is that if you go to therapy with a narcissist, typically you're going to talk about what's affecting you and your triggers and what hurts you and what's harmful to you. All that's actually doing is arming the narcissist with more knowledge about how to hurt you. I know that sounds extreme, but I see this frequently in my coaching when I've had clients who have been to therapy with a narcissist. It has just allowed the narcissist to amp up their abuse. So be really wary. Approaches to dealing with narcissists. If therapy isn't the solution, what can you do if you suspect someone in your life might have narcissistic traits? Here are some alternative strategies. Number 1, set boundaries. Establish clear and firm boundaries to protect yourself from the narcissist's manipulative or abusive behaviour. Boundaries are essential in maintaining your mental and emotional well-being. Here are some actions. Decide what behaviours you will and will not tolerate and communicate those boundaries clearly. For example, if the narcissist becomes verbally abusive, you might state that you will end the conversation until they can speak respectfully. Number 2, manage your expectations. Understand that the narcissist is unlikely to ever change, nor do they want to, especially if they don't acknowledge their behaviour as problematic. Managing your expectations can help you avoid frustration and disappointment. So, how you can action that is to accept that the narcissist may not be capable of empathy or genuine self reflection. So, focus on what you can control, and that's you, your reactions, and your decisions, rather than trying to change them. That's never going to work. Number 3, prioritize self care. Dealing with a narcissist can be emotionally draining. Prioritize self-care to ensure you're looking after your own mental and physical health. This might involve seeking support from friends and family or a therapist or coach for yourself. So, what action can you take? Engage in activities that help you relax and recharge, such as exercise, hobbies, or spending time with supportive people who understand your situation. Number 4, seek support networks. Connecting with others who have experienced similar relationships can be incredibly validating and empowering. Support groups, both online and in person, can offer advice, resources, and emotional support. What action can you take? Look for support groups focusing on dealing with narcissistic abuse. These groups can provide practical advice and a sense of community, helping you feel less alone. Number 5, consider distance or disengagement, or what we call no contact. In some cases, the best option may be to distance yourself from the narcissist or even cut ties altogether, especially if the relationship is causing significant harm to your well-being. The action you can take, if possible, create physical or emotional distance from the narcissist. This might include limiting contact, reducing the time you spend together, or in extreme cases, severing the relationship entirely. Number 6, consider coaching for you. I work closely with both private clients and those referred from organizations to help them recognize, deal with, and recover from narcissistic bullying and abuse, whether that's in a professional, social, familial, or personal relationship. If you'd like to learn more about how I can help, please reach out. I'll leave the contact details below. The wrap up. While the idea of bringing a narcissist to therapy, counselling, or coaching may seem like a potential solution, it often leads to many more complications than resolutions. Narcissists lack self-awareness. They have manipulative tendencies, and the potential for reinforcing harmful behaviours make therapy a really risky proposition. Instead, focus on setting boundaries, managing expectations, and prioritising your own well-being. In some cases, distancing yourself or going completely no contact with the narcissist may be the most effective way to protect yourself. Dealing with a narcissist is challenging, but understanding the limitations of therapy in such situations can help you make more informed decisions. Remember, your well-being is paramount, and sometimes the best course of action is to focus on your own healing and growth rather than trying to change someone who may not be willing or able to change themselves. What next? This is another video idea that came from a subscriber, and I absolutely love it when you give me ideas for videos. It's so helpful. So if you have anything you'd like me to cover in an upcoming video, please leave it in the comments section below. I read and respond to everything and really do love interacting with you all. I'm currently recording a series of videos delving more deeply into the common traits of narcissistic behaviour. So please make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss a thing. Finally, thank you so much to everybody who stays until the very end, and thank you so much for your support. It really does mean the absolute world to me.